Hi everyone, Claire here from Clear Physiotherapy. So just thought I would jump on today, talk to you about something a little bit different, but something that is really, really close to my heart, and that is wellness. So what is wellness? Um, and a few things that you may not know in regards to what you do every single day and how that can actually impact your wellness and also your susceptibility to chronic diseases later in life. So, who who's watching has a desk job, and by that I mean you sit for the majority of your 8 to 10 hour day. I'd hesitate to say that it will probably be the vast majority of you. So whether you're watching this live or whether you are watching it back later, just pop in the comments. You can put in what you do for a job and whether it's sedentary or not. So do you sit on your backside for the majority of the day? Okay, so for 1, 2, 3 hours at a time. You basically get up to have morning tea, if you're lucky, and you get up for lunch, and you might get up for afternoon tea, and maybe a couple of toilet breaks in there. But other than that, you're basically sitting still. Did you know that having a sedentary lifestyle is actually makes you more susceptible to chronic disease? And what I mean by chronic disease, it's things like heart disease, lung disease, um, cancer. So, the big ones that we, probably want to avoid. And did you know how easy it is to avoid those types of diseases? Don't sit for long periods. It's that easy. Okay. So what you can do is break up your activities. So rather than sitting for 2, 3 hours straight, you can get up and go to the photocopier. Instead of sending an email to someone, go and speak to them if they're in the office. So just looking at how you can break down that sedentary lifestyle where you're sitting for long periods of time. How can you break up that sitting? Okay. The other thing that you can do is you can look at a sit-stand desk, for instance. Anyone who's been into my office recently will know that I've got my sit-stand desk. I'm actually on it at the moment, so I'm currently standing up, and my desk is up. So I often, and when I'm consulting with a patient, I often sit down to consult because it's a bit weird me towering over you. But when I'm in the office, usually on my own and doing paperwork, I put my sit-stand desk up. They're relatively cost effective. You don't need to get, so when sit-stand desks first came out, they were electronic, they were the whole desk. It was quite difficult to implement, particularly in an office environment. Whereas now you can pick up, so anywhere between sort of $100 and probably $300, you can pick up a sit-stand desk that actually sits on top of your desk. It's easy to lift and lower. There's no point getting one that's hard to lift and lower and then injuring your back or your shoulders or your arms. Easy to lift and lower, and you can change from sitting to standing. Okay. Another thing that you can implement, there are apps, programs on smart devices, on desktops, both Mac and Windows, that you can install onto your computer or install onto your laptop or iPad or iPhone or Android device, and it will remind you to stand up. Okay, so there's lots of really, really simple things we can do to implement. And when you think about why we're doing it to improve our wellness and looking at decreasing our risk of chronic disease later in life. So just standing up occasionally. And I tend to pick the things that I do standing up. So I actually find that I think better when I'm standing up. So if I've got something to do, if I've got some maybe some marketing things that I want to write, or some emails that I want to draft, or I've got some more sort of complex things that I want to do in terms of accounting or bookkeeping, or those kind of things. I tend to find that I actually think better standing up, rather than sitting down and kind of feeling all stale. So try it, see if you like it, and send me a message if you need to get connected to any of those resources that I've mentioned. I can give you some really great places to look for the on-desk, sit-to-stand desks as well, that are really cost-effective. So, and they're actually cheaper if you buy more. So if you've got an office full of people and you want to buy them in bulk, they're actually cheaper if you buy more. So send me a message or comment in the comments with this video if you want to get connected with those resources. So the other thing with wellness is our mind health is really, really important. So in this, really, really fast pace of life that we live, where we're constantly on the go, we're constantly doing something. I know for me, it's dropping the kids off in the morning, it's getting to work, it's seeing patients, it's I run my own business, so it's doing all the business side of my business as well. All the behind the scenes, and then it's rushing to go pick the kids up, get dinner ready. It's always really, really busy, and I'm sure you're exactly the same. What I challenge you to do is make sure that you're adding one enjoyable task every single day. Okay, it might go for 30 seconds, it might go for 5 minutes, it might be an hour, but just make sure you're doing one enjoyable thing every single day. It's really great for our mind health, it's really great for our mood, but also if you've got any pain, do you know what that can actually do for your pain? It actually works as a pain reliever. So double bonus, we're doing something that we really enjoy, plus if we've got pain, it actually increases the endorphin levels in our brain, and it balances out the cortisol that we just naturally have because of our fast-paced life. So one enjoyable thing every single day. And some ideas? If you drink coffee, you can just sit out in the sun, if there is sun, or in front of the heater, or in front of an open fire, and just have an uninterrupted coffee. It might be having a bath at the end of the day. It might be a quick phone call or a quick text conversation with a friend that you haven't spoken to for a while, and just reconnecting and saying hi. So just really, having a think about all the things that you can do. And one little tip that I give my clients is actually write a list of all of those things that you've got that you really like doing, because I think sometimes in the spur of the moment it just feels all too hard and we don't do it. So if you've got a list of all the things that you like doing and you've got a spare 5 minutes, go pick something off that list and go and do it. Maybe going for a walk in the sunshine, or going for a run in the rain. Whatever you enjoy doing, okay? So that's your job for the next week, is to implement that one thing every single day for a week, something that you enjoy doing, and just see how you feel. And who knows, you might continue it after that week. And the third thing that's really important is what we put into our body. Okay, so again, in this fast-paced life, it is really easy for us to just grab something quick, and most of the time the stuff that we eat that's really quick and easy is usually not very good for us. So having a plan, so whether that be meal planning, whether that be a nutrition program, whatever works for you, and whatever empowers you as well, is really, really important. So if you're doing something that is stressing you out and making you feel bad and making you feel guilty, then again, that's going to affect your mood, and that overall increases our stress levels, increases our cortisol, decreases our mood. It's not good for anyone. Okay, so really being aware, particularly in winter, it's in Melbourne, it's pretty chilly. It's really easy to just get into those comfort foods, drink a few too many coffees because it keeps you warm. It really doesn't matter if I'm going to have that chocolate bar because I've got a nice thick jumper to cover up all the extra insulation that I've got. But you know what? You have to work hard to actually lose that at the end of winter. So just really being mindful of what we put into our bodies, and making sure that we've got nutritionally dense food that makes us feel good. Okay, so I speak to way too many people who do, you know, like 20-day challenges or 30-day challenges, and they hate the food that they're eating, and it's bland and boring, and well, and they feel rotten. There's a certain point, depending on how much coffee you drink and how much sugar you eat, and you know how much soft drink you drink, um, you are going to feel a little bit yuck when you start eliminating those foods or reducing those foods and drinks. But for you to feel rotten about the actual food that you're eating, food is to fuel our body, but we all know that food also gives us so much pleasure. So you've got to enjoy what you're eating and you've got to get pleasure out of what you're eating. So just making sure that you are getting that pleasure out of what you're eating and it's not making you feel guilty. So just being really aware of the food that we put into our body. When we're putting bad food into our body, what it does is it increases the inflammation in our body. So if you're wondering why, as a physio, I'm talking about food, it's because from a wellness perspective, it makes my job so much harder if your body is toxic, for want of a better word. So you're putting those foods into your body that create inflammation, and that in turn, I'm sure you're aware, if you've got an injury, it creates inflammation. So you've got this double whammy of more inflammation in your body. It gets harder to clear that inflammation out of your body, and therefore it takes you longer to recover from injuries, and it also makes you more susceptible to injuries. So being aware, if you wanted to chat to me any further about things that create that inflammation in your body, or you want to chat to me further about nutrition, food, mood, wellness, sedentary lifestyle, sit, stand, desk, anything that I've spoken about today, feel free to drop me a PM or just drop me a little note in the comments, and then we can hook up a time to have a bit more of a detailed chat, and look at yourself from a wellness perspective. So rather than trying to avoid disease or trying to avoid injury, actually try and implement wellness strategies into your life. They're so much more empowering and they'll make you so much happier. So don't forget your homework for this week. One thing that you enjoy every single day, whether it's 30 seconds or an hour or anything in between or a whole day, and just see how you feel, and just post in the comments what you did, and that might give some other people some ideas, and you might pick up some ideas from what other people have done. So have a great week, everyone. Enjoy, if you are in Melbourne, enjoy the sunshine that we've got today, but rug up because that wind is chilly. And I will see you all next Tuesday. So bye for now. Have a great week.